I am witnessing one of the coolest things I've ever seen in the speedrunning community right now. Alice at Wonderland Games is a trans woman who is going to be having gender affirming surgery soon, and like many of us trans women, we often can't afford it. This is particularly troubling because, like, girl, we need that shit. We actually need it, and yet it is put in a place where it is completely unaffordable and therefore unattainable. I haven't had my gender affirming surgery yet, and up until recently, I wasn't sure that I ever would. But I'm a lot more hopeful for that now. Y'all, in a speedrunning community, y'all are probably familiar with GDQ. They've raised millions of dollars for Doctors Without Borders and Prevent Cancer Foundation, and with the Frame Fatales, they've also raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for National Women's Law Center and Malala Fund. It's all great work. And in my time of speedrunning in GDQ events, as well as other unaffiliated speedrunning marathons like Power Up with Pride, Lady Arcader's Super Showcase, to name a couple, we have raised thousands of dollars for important causes. I've always been proud to be a part of that work. I've always been happy to lend my speedrunning obsession to a cause that I think should be supported. But this event, Running Through Wonderland, as it is called, just to get urgent financial support to a trans woman who needs gender affirming care, this one moved me personally. You see, being a trans woman in the gaming space isn't like super easy. It's hard enough just being a woman, but being visibly trans is another layer of marginalization that is just kind of unavoidable. Just about every trans speedrunner that I know has faced this kind of othering from people who don't think we should be included on speedrun leaderboards, and certainly not in their beloved GDQ events. Understand this. GDQ isn't perfect, but one of the things I appreciate most about them is that when queer folks showed up, they just asked to be seen, and GDQ staff said, of course, and let us have a space. GDQ is so goddamn queer now, and it's kind of wild that we got here. It's still so incredibly popular, despite so many people insisting it fell off once the alphabet mafia got involved. Believe me, we know that people hate us. We know that the outside spectators of speedrunning are not happy that more and more queer people pick up the hobby. We know that there are speedrunners who also resent that queer people are more involved with this now than ever before. But we're here. The community is kind of stuck with us. It's outside resentment that made me feel like something like Running Through Wonderland was never going to be a thing that happened. I found out about it while it was being organized. A good friend of mine in the speedrunning community, Schmumbler, reached out to me and asked if I'd like to do commentary for them while they ran their famous run of Silent Hill Homecoming and Silent Hill Downpour at the same time. I said I'd be honored, and this sounds like a great cause that I hope gets its goal met. When I arrived, first of all, everyone was happy to see me. It makes sense. I'm trans, I'm a speedrunner, and this event was about helping a trans woman who was a speedrunner. But basically, one of the organizers for this event, Osmorn, who, by the way, is one of the coolest people ever, asked me what I was doing there. I said to do commentary for Schmumbler. Then he said, oh, well, would you like to do a run too? And I said, of course I would. Now, I had no idea what to expect from this event in terms of people's involvement and how much attention and support it would get. But once the schedule dropped, that was the first moment where my expectations were exceeded. First of all, I was familiar with almost every runner there, but some of those names surprised me. Jaxler, Ashwin, Parkin Harbor, JSR, Shark Hat, Dan the VP, Marathon Man, Cloud. Wow. That was a list of incredible people. Everyone on the list is incredible, but I figured the people that would be there were just going to be trans runners, queer runners, maybe one or two other people, but this was something else. So let me tell you, this was support. This was a sizable amount of speedrunners who've made a name for themselves in the community and outside the community to come together to help Alice, a trans woman, get her gender-affirming surgery. At the time of me writing this, the event is at almost $3,900 out of the $5,000 needed. There are 2 days left to go, and I am, like, speechless. The speedrunning community, not just the trans part of it, like, came together because they saw one of their own in need and did the organizing and the support required to make this thing happen. I don't know if y'all really understand what all goes on in the background to make these kinds of things happen, but it is a lot. And they did that. Not for a big charity like MSF or PCF, and not even for just the general trans community, like marathons we've done for the Trevor Project. No, this was direct. It was to help one of us. It was directly done to help a friend, a trans woman, to save her fucking life, to make one of the biggest differences that one can have in the life of a single person. The speedrunning community did this. I cannot even begin to tell you how much hope this fills me with. I cannot even begin to tell you how much more optimistic this makes me. Not only for myself, but for trans people in general. Speedrunning means a lot to me, and so does the community around it. But this touched my heart in a way that few things ever have before. Thanks for listening.